It seems more evident now than ever that free speech is like the kryptonite to law enforcement, and I just don't get it. We're going to play this clip and watch it. Apparently, even as a business owner, you are not allowed to have your own opinion when it comes to law enforcement and your views of them.
Many in the police community upset and cutting ties with local fitness entrepreneur Andy Frisella. This coming after he made derogatory comments on his podcast about women in law enforcement. 5 on Your Side's Laura Barczewski talked with current and former officers who called his remarks disgusting.
Andy Frisella, the co-owner of First Forum, a St. Louis supplement and fitness company, is on damage control after these comments he made during his podcast episode that came out on National Policewoman Day.
Why, in my opinion, women shouldn't be in the field and police officers. I just don't think they should be. Every woman cop I've ever dealt with, every single one that I've ever been pulled over by, tried to make me feel like a and if that person didn't have a badge or a gun, you could punch a hole through their face and end their life. And they're talking to you like you're a piece of shit.
This comment came up after they talked about Miami Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill being arrested last weekend. The episode has been taken down, and there was a second one put up talking about these remarks again.
Did I overgeneralize? Yeah, for sure. And I do that sometimes. That's the nature of how I speak.
Frisella did post another 12-minute audio-only podcast episode called I Messed Up and I'm Sorry.
I said some things on the show on Thursday that after thinking about it and after having it pointed out to me, that I feel very regretful for saying. Embarrassed that I said it. Doesn't reflect who I am.
Despite the various attempts to clarify and apologize, both the St. Louis County and City Police Departments released statements condemning Frisella's comments and officially severed all ties to Frisella and First Form. St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy said in a statement his overall and disparaging comments do not reflect our views or core values and have no place in the SLMPD. St. Louis County Police Association Executive Director Joe Patterson says Frisella and his company have been major donors to law enforcement charitable organizations and backstoppers.
And we truly do appreciate that previous support. But one of the things I heard from a lot of my women officers, they said, Joe, it has to be clear we cannot be bought. We cannot forgive him for saying this just because of the good he's done in the past.
How hard is this for all these women who put their lives on the line every day?
It's really disturbing for them, both emotionally and just they feel extraordinarily violated and disrespected.
Former and current policewomen in the St. Louis area called Frisella's remarks disgusting and said they'd never support his business again. One said in a statement to 5 on Your Side, as a longtime supporter of First Forum, I am highly disappointed in Mr. Frisella's derogatory and inflammatory statements regarding women in policing. The violence he depicted towards women is scary. Reporting in St. Louis, Laura Barczewski, 5 on Your Side.
Well, if anything came true of this is Andy Frisella's words were literally proven by the outrage of women cops. Listen, here's a couple different things. Number one, I know Andy Frisella, and I'm not going to say anything about what he said. It's his business what he said. The problem I have is the hypocrisy of law enforcement. If you have listened to anything he has said throughout the years, he is 100% consistent. It doesn't matter what he says or how he says it. He has never changed. I find it an absolute clown world of a fucking joke that law enforcement has no problem whatsoever taking his donations when it comes to him criticizing the black community and their interaction with law enforcement. They have no problem when he defends some of the shittiest cops' actions out there. They have no problem whatsoever. They have no problem with all the stuff that First Form has done, including employed officers, donated to officers, been a staple in that community for God knows how long. But when it comes to the criticism of his personal experience with police officers, which I will 100% back him with the temperament and the non-ability to function properly or professional that females don't have, then all of a sudden then it is, we have to cut ties with him. We have to teach him a lesson for criticizing us. See, the thing that Andy did, which I understand, I wouldn't have walked back or apologized my statement. The reason he has to is because he is responsible for thousands of lives, mouths that need to be fed, families that have food that has to go on the table, mortgages and rent that has to be paid. he has a greater responsibility. So when you get to that stage, free speech, it's not just completely afforded to be out there. And as we see from law enforcement, he is being punished for giving his opinion on female cops. Now, I've said this a million times, and I'm not going to shy away from this. Female cops should 100% not be on the road at all. You want a massive change in law enforcement? You start there. Stop hiring female cops and wait for the other ones to get out there. The other side of it is, man, every cop, this is what I have to venture. And this is where I refuse to accept it, is I will bet you anything that Andy got a flood of calls, email, texts after this came out in support of what he said by both active and retired law enforcement. And I bet you every one of them privately said, I agree with you, I know, but not one of those fucking cowards will come forward and say, no, what Andy said is legitimately true. This is it. This is America. You are not allowed to express your opinion against police officers without punishment. How often is he going to get pulled over now? The guy's got millions of dollars in cars, vintage cars, muscle cars, sports cars. How often now are they going to attack him, profile him, stop him, and talk about the street legal questionality of his vehicles? What are they going to do to his business? Are they going to make it difficult to get to his business to patronize it? It blows me away. Is he going to be denied permits for events? What is the village going to do now because he criticized an extremely valid fact? Females cannot function well as police officer. It is not a general, the exceptions don't disprove the rule. You had one cop on there, I'm not going to mention her name. She did a video on him and she was, how dare you? You're the epitome of a keyboard warrior. She just happened to be somebody who ran away screaming from a suspect who stole her gun. And it just proves again, females do not have the mental or physical temperament to be on the street. And what's sick is how many of you coward, spineless, ballless, blue line fucking licking former and current cops will not publicly come out and defend this man when he's done nothing but defend you. He has taken shit defending you. So I will defend him. Everything Andy Frisella said on this podcast, he can't back it up. I will back it up. He's responsible for the livelihoods of thousands. I am not. What he said was accurate. Females on traffic stops and females on domestic calls, females on any type of call for service, they typically, usually, most always escalate the circumstance because they feel they have to prove something out there to everybody on scene. It is a psychological profile of the fucking female in a position of male authority, especially dealing with men. Women do not have the mental fortitude for this profession. Women should not be on the road. So everything Andy said is 100% accurate. And we've seen this time and time again in countless videos that are all over the place. Shame on you fucking police, chiefs of police, command staff, union reps. The union rep or the representative in that phone call interview proved you've got females who are mentally disturbed by the free speech words of somebody. You prove that they should not be cops. If you can't stand, if you are emotionally traumatized by the words of a man that you've been listening to for decades, you take his money, you take his product, you take his support. If he supports you, how are you going to deal with Joe Shit, the rag man on a traffic stop who looks at you and goes, fuck you, cunt, I'm not giving you my driver's license. How are you going to deal with that? It's more proof. Andy just outed and exposed the reality. If the knee-jerk reaction is, oh my God, we have to protect female cops from the words and opinions of a citizen who pays our salary and donates to us and supports us, we have to protect them because those words are so harsh. Oh my God, we can't afford them to be on the street. I 100% support what Andy Frisella said. He said it, in my opinion, professionally and with taste, because it's the exact same standard of phrasing and word usage he uses on everything else. It is an embarrassment and it's a massive tell by the police officers, female out there who can't handle this, the unions and the command staff who supports them, and all of the male cops out there and even female cops who most likely privately just messaged or spoke to Andy and supported him. But you spineless fucking cowards will not go online and say, no, what he said is absolutely correct. It's time. Get rid of female police officers. They have absolutely no business on the street, and the reaction of a free citizen's words who have been pro-police from the beginning absolutely prove it.